Hello and welcome to DHP TV. Just over 2 years ago we launched Total Course Fishing magazine, and to celebrate the launch at the time we tied in with Ultima, who did a £1 million launch on their Power Plus line, which proved to be very successful. I myself use this line, I think it's fantastic. Andy May from Ultima has joined me in the studio today to talk about lines, and I know you were a big part of that from the start.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Thanks for coming in first of all.
No, not a problem.
Power Plus, big success story.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. The sales have just gone, through the roof a bit. From the initial sales of that, we've been, experimenting on other different lines, and I've brought another 3 fairly new products to show you today.
Just talk about this one first, because I'm very passionate about lines. One of the things for me is that I think a lot of companies launch lines where the diameters are just way out.
Yeah.
Right? And I hate that, because I like to know what I'm using on the reel is what I think I'm using.
Yeah.
It's something I've been talking about for many years, but people just don't seem to get a grasp of this.
No.
So you end up with such an imbalance. You can have a reel line that you think is a certain diameter, then a hook length that you think is a certain diameter, and one's working against the other, and you can be breaking off on the reel and all sorts of things. I know you use this all the time because you were part of it from the start. I've got a lot of faith in Power Plus. I think right the way through the diameters, it's very, very good line. It's reliable. I use it right the way up to £10 breaking strain for barbel, and right the way down to sort of £3 for slow fishing. High-tech lines, hook length lines, rig lines, whatever you want to call them, it's a lot more complex, isn't it? There's so much choice out there.
Oh, it is. There's loads of choice.
And what I've done specifically, I want Andy today to talk to us about the 3 different types of high-tech lines that he uses for various applications.
Yeah, basically the one that I've been using all the time is the fairly new one called Power Match. That goes down to 0.10 diameter, which is probably about just over £2 breaking strain. And the good thing about Ultima, because you're basically just a line manufacturer, then the diameter is absolutely spot on. When I've been to the factory, all the testing equipment, everything's there. They have sandpaper to test all the abrasion resistance. They've got all the micrometers. It's all digitally done on computers, so everything is absolutely bang on. Just coming back to this Power Match, as I say, I use it in hook lengths. It doesn't spin up at all. It hangs straight. It's very limp. It's really, really good stuff.
So do you use that for rig lines or just for hook lengths specifically? Both
rig line and hook lengths. At the recent festival this year down at Whiteacres, I was on quite a snaggy peg on one of the waters, and actually used this in 28, because what was happening with the carp, they were going right under the bridge, so we had to use something quite heavy to stop them going under. And this, that you can actually feel them rubbing against the stanchions. Oh, it was unbelievable. It didn't break at all. I just used one rig for the whole day, and it saw me through. And as you can say, if it could feel the fish rubbing against the stanchions on the bridge. It's unbelievable stuff, it really was.
It's just a matter of interest. What elastic would you use with 28?
Red Eye Joe on that, quite tight as well. But even then, they were still pulling a good, few foot out. So, yeah, it was unbelievable. Just been on to one of the new products they've brought out as well. On the back of the Power Plus, I brought the Power Steel out. It's got virtually hardly any stretch in it at all. So, it never replaced braid. Braid's got no stretch in it whatsoever, but it's fairly good. It's up to scratch on it. It's not got much stretch in it at all. The lightest arms it comes in is 0.17. It's not a rig line or a hook length. It's designed for your main line. To start off with, it'll start floating, so it's perfect for yourself. Like fishing rivers, you want that floating line. But the thing I found out about it is especially when you're clipping up and you're casting to features, what can happen sometimes is when you get a big fish on, you're playing it takes all that stretch out of your line. And with normal line, when you go to cast out against your clip, you can be on the island. Whereas this, it retains the same factor, so it doesn't overstretch, and you're just getting that same mark every single time.
So that's specifically used as a reel line now?
Yeah, I just use that as a main line, reel line.
Are you using that instead of the Power Plus? Or are you using both?
To be honest, I've been doing a lot of waggler fishing lately, and I've been using this more. When there's a bit of a breeze on the water, I use the Power Plus, to get it to sink. But if you wanted this to sink, all you'd simply do is just either put a bit of mud on it or a bit of washing up liquid, and that'll sink it anyway.
What I always do with the Power Plus, I know when it first came out, it was advertised as a sinking line.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I found it to be a fantastic floating line as well.
Yeah.
I just use a silicone spray.
Yeah,
line at the start.
It's got the buoyancy, yeah.
It floats fantastically well.
Yeah, the thing about it, especially if you're long trotting as well, with a Power Plus, it's got that stretch in. This is hardly got any stretch in. You can hit the bite, it's a lot more positive. And especially fishing the waggler, you'd directly into the fish. The other product, which is absolutely ideal for stick float fishing, if you've never tried it, Dave, is the float cast.
Right.
It's revolutionary in that it's hollow core, so it actually floats. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And again, you can get a long shot with it and you're straight into the fish again, because your line, you can't possibly sink this line.
So do you use that in commercial applications?
Yeah, for any pellet waggler fishing I use that, or for stick float fishing, something like that. Anywhere where you want a floating line. I mean, you could use it for normal waggler, but the only thing is, because of how they make the line with it being hollow, it can only come in L20, that's the lowest diameter. And obviously, as you know, the friction through your rod rings, you're not going to get the distance when you're only fishing a light waggler. So that's why I use something a bit lighter. Whereas that for, as I say, a bit heavier waggler, like a pellet waggler, that's fine on your main line. Won't be a problem at all.